areas.
Question number 12, Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Housing. What specific actions, if any, does Auckland Council need to take to avoid government intervention, given his reported statement that the government would use the reformed RMA to intervene in Auckland if the Auckland Council doesn't change its planning practices?
Speaker.
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, the government is already intervening in the Council's planning process with the Resource Management Reform Bill. This bill is currently before Parliament and provides for a Board of Inquiry to consider the Auckland Unitary Plan with limited appeal rights.
Supplementary question.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order.
I seek leave to table a letter from the Honourable David Carter to His Worship the Mayor Len Brown, setting out the government's support for key elements of the Auckland
sought
plan.
To table that letter. Is there any objection? There appears to be none.
There appears to be none. Thank you. It's an excellent letter, sir. I seek the leave of the House, point of order, to table the reply from the Office of the Mayor of Auckland, Len Brown, to the Honourable David Carter.
Leave is sought to table the response to that letter. Is there any objection? None. It can be tabled.
Thank you.
Supplementary question.
Why is he now blaming Auckland Council for the housing crisis, when only 4 months ago his government said the Auckland plan is broadly consistent with the Productivity Commission's recommendations on housing affordability, and that the government recognises the need to continue working with the Auckland Council to support the implementation of the Auckland plan?
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, the people I principally hold responsible for the huge challenge we have of housing affordability in Auckland is those that set the policy a decade ago around the metropolitan urban limit that did not work, and secondly, the last government that endorsed that plan and saw both house prices double, section prices double, and interest rates go up in almost every year they were government.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Speaker,
point of order.
I seek leave to table the government's response to the Productivity Commission's recommendations on housing affordability, where they confirm that the Auckland plan is consistent with the Productivity Commission's
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? Appears to be none. It can be tabled.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question.
What reports has he received that show that if the Auckland Unitary Plan takes effect in September, as Auckland Council has requested, that new greenfields land would be available by 2015, 2 years after he stated in the House yesterday, and that under his scenario of changes to the RMA, new land would not be available until 2017, and will he correct the statement he made in the House yesterday?
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, the statement I said in the House yesterday was absolutely correct, and it is this. If the Unitary Plan takes effect in September, then it would still require the formal notification of new subdivisions. And I will seek the leave of the House immediately to table the legal advice from Roger Blakely, the head of the Planning Department at Auckland Council, to share that advice that's consistent with yesterday's answer.
So has leave been taken?
I seek leave of the House to table an email from Roger Blakely, the manager of the Auckland Council's Planning Department, setting out the process in the event the Council plan. To my office.
Leave is sought to table that email. Is there any objection? There appears to be none. It can be tabled. Point of order, Phil Twyford.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave of the House to table advice from Roger Blakely, the Chief Planning Officer of Auckland Council, that shows conclusively that...
Who was the advice to?
It's advice from Auckland Council, sir.
It is Blakely's advice to the Auckland Council, which you have a copy of.
I have a copy of it.
Leave is sought to table that advice from Blakely to the...
Mr Speaker, can I just say what is in it?
No, that's all it is.
It makes no sense, sir.
The House can make a decision.
The same rule for both.
The House can make a decision whether it wants that information table. It's a legal order. It is a legal opinion from Roger Blakely to the Auckland Council, and no, on housing affordability, we're assuming. I'll give the member a minute to explain it further.
Mr Speaker, I would argue that it makes no sense to ask for leave of the House.
I'm giving the member the opportunity to further explain.
Okay. I seek the leave of the House, sir, to table advice from Roger Blakely of Auckland Council that shows conclusively that the scenario that Mr Smith has proposed would take 2 years longer to bring in new greenfields land than what is being proposed by the Auckland Council.
Okay, leave is now sought. Is there any objection? Supplementary question, Alfred Ngaro.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Is the Minister concerned that even with the Council only having half the greenfield residential land that its own development strategy requires, this development strategy relies on a massive building program for high-density housing?
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Yes, I am. The Council's plan requires the building of 4,000 new apartments and compact townhouses per year for the next decade and 10,000 per year for the 2 decades thereafter. We should be reminded that last year 1,000 houses of that same category were built. The MEL was set a decade ago on the assumption of massive intensification that did not occur. We should not repeat that mistake again.
Supplementary question. Phil Twyford, supplementary question.
Does he support the views of Federated Farmers CEO Connor English, who says that Auckland needs to stop sprawling across the countryside, gobbling up productive land, as well as deliver more investment in public transport, more affordable housing and more intensification, which sounds very much like Len Brown's plan for a compact city?
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, no, I do not agree. And let me tell you why. In the Urban Design Technical Advisory Group report, it points out that if all of Auckland's population growth over the next 20 years was on quarter-acre sections, it would require less than 0.4% of New Zealand's agricultural land. Now, agricultural production in New Zealand is improving its productivity by between 1.5 and 2% per year. So over a 20-year period, the effect of Auckland growing in that way will have negligible impact on New Zealand's productivity.
Supplementary question. Supplementary question, Alfred Ngaro.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, can the Minister specifically state how many greenfield sections are available at each stage of development in Auckland, and how does this compare with that required?
Okay.
Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, the report I've released today shows that 1,900 sections are ready to be built on now. That compares to previous claims of over 15,000. The report also shows that there is in land ready to be subdivided 14,500 sections when the Council's own development strategy requires 32,000. In the category of land in the pipeline for subdivision, there is 54,000 sections when the Council's development strategy requires 103,000 in that category. What the report shows is that we have less than half the land available that the Council's even own strategy requires, and reinforces the view that more land is needed for residential development.
Supplementary question, Phil
Supplementary
Twyford.
question. Is he satisfied that the approach he took with ACC and local government, shonky numbers and blaming other people, is a constructive approach for dealing with the housing crisis?
Honourable Nick Smith, happy to answer it.
I think it's interesting for the member to talk about shonky numbers, because the government's report shows that 2,000 sections are available today to be built on, when claims were made by members opposite and by the Auckland Council that that number was 15,000. And I invite the member opposite to actually read the technical report by the Auckland Council officials and MB today so that he can be better informed.
Point of order, Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave of the House to table the report Housing Affordability, Residential Land Available in Auckland, published by the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment today.
It's available on a website?
No, it's just been publicly released today.
Is it on their website?
Yes, it's on the website.
I'm not sure whether it's on the website yet.
It will be on the website. That concludes question time. The House comes to the debate on the budget policy statement